You felt this before. You said something in a room and nobody looked up. Somebody else said the exact same thing 30 seconds later and suddenly everyone nodded. Same words, different person. And you sat there thinking, what do they have that I don't? It wasn't louder. It wasn't smarter. It wasn't even confidence. Not really. It was something quieter. Something you couldn't name then, but you felt in your chest. The sting of being talked over by someone who didn't even try that hard. Some people make you respect them without saying a word. Social psychologists have a name for this: status signaling. Small, often unconscious cues that tell a room who to take seriously long before a single argument gets made. That's this video: 7 tiny habits that make people respect you without saying a word. 7 specific things, and I promise you, you already do the opposite of at least 2 without realizing it. Watch till the last habit. Number 7 changes everything, and it only works because of everything before it. Don't skip any of them. Each one is quietly setting up the next. Let's start with the one people notice first, without knowing they're noticing it. Habit 1. Maintain eye contact 70% of the time. Most people get eye contact wrong in one of 2 ways. Lock in too hard and it starts feeling like a stare down. Look away too much and it reads as absence. There's a middle setting almost nobody uses on purpose. Hold eye contact roughly 70% of the time. At that range, it stops feeling like scrutiny and starts feeling like presence, what communication researchers call executive presence, the nonverbal signal that you're settled in your own skin. Trust researchers point to a simple mechanism. Sustained, comfortable eye contact nudges the brain toward releasing oxytocin, the chemical involved in bonding. You're being trusted a little before you've said anything. If direct eye contact feels like too much, look at the bridge of someone's nose instead. From their side, it looks the same. This isn't a personality trait, it's a dial. Once you can control it, the next habit becomes possible. Presence without attention is just posturing. Eye contact was never really about being seen. It's about making someone feel found. Habit 2. Listen more than you speak. Almost everyone walks into a conversation thinking about what they'll say next. You can see it happen, that flicker when someone stopped listening and started loading their response. The people who get remembered practice active listening, not the polite nodding version, but the kind where you follow the thread to the end before responding. Try this ratio. Listen 70%, talk 30%. Ask a follow-up question instead of pivoting to your own story. So what you're saying is one of the underused sentences there is. Being genuinely heard registers differently than being tolerated, which is why people can't always explain why they trust a good listener. This becomes important later because you can't say no well or admit you don't know something if you were never actually listening. Talking makes people notice you. Listening makes them trust you. Those are not the same currency. Habit 3. The 3-second pause before speaking. Somebody asks you a question. What happens next? For most people, panic, a scramble to fill the silence. Here's the habit. Before you answer anything that matters, pause. 3 seconds. This is strategic silence. A rushed answer is often the amygdala talking, your brain's reactive alarm system. A paused answer gives the prefrontal cortex, responsible for reasoned thought, a chance to engage. Same words, completely different impression. Silence isn't empty. It's the container that gives your next sentence weight. Without it, conviction is just volume. Habit 4. Never apologize for having an opinion. Listen for this in your next meeting. This might be a dumb idea, but the idea hasn't even landed and it's already been buried. There's a term for that reflex, hedging language, and it costs more than most people realize. The same idea delivered with a disclaimer lands as less credible than the identical idea delivered clean, not because the content is weaker, but because the framing told the room to discount it first. Drop the apology, not the humility. I might be wrong, but maybe we try a different approach, becomes, here's what I think we should try. Conviction, even imperfect conviction, earns more respect than accuracy wrapped in self-doubt. The second you apologize for an idea, you've already told the room to not trust it. Nobody else has to. Habit 5. Do what you say you will do 100% of the time. This one has nothing to do with charisma and everything to do with whether people can rely on you. This is the one that took me longest to take seriously. I used to think competence was the whole game. It isn't. The real equation looks more like this. Competence plus consistency equals trust. Pull the consistency out, and competence barely registers. I've watched talented people get quietly written off, and unremarkable people become the one everyone trusts simply because their word was solid. Most people overpromise because saying yes feels good in the moment, and the follow-through slips later. The fix is uncomfortable, not complicated. Promise less than you're capable of. Deliver more than you promised. One broken promise erases 10 kept ones in someone's memory. Talent gets you noticed. Consistency gets you trusted. Only one of those actually lasts. Habit 6. Admit when you don't know something. What do you do when someone asks you something and you don't know the answer? Most people bluff, a half-guess dressed up as a fact, because admitting a gap feels like weakness. The habit is 3 words, I don't know, said plainly, without 3 sentences of apology. That's intellectual humility in practice, and it builds trust because nobody believes the person who claims to know everything. They just haven't been caught yet. Confidence was never about knowing everything. It's about not needing to fake it when you don't. Habit 7, the one I told you to wait for. Here it is, saying no. Not dramatically, not as a power move, cleanly, without a paragraph of guilt attached. Call it selective availability. If you say yes to everything, your yes stops being worth anything because it costs you nothing to give. Say no on purpose without over-explaining, and your yes starts carrying real weight. It can sound like this. I appreciate you thinking of me, but I can't take that on right now. That's the whole sentence. People rarely lose respect for someone with clear limits. They lose respect for someone who says yes and resents it, or says yes and doesn't come through. Every yes to something that doesn't matter is a quiet no to something that does. Protect that, and you stop being available. You start being valuable. A yes that costs you nothing is worth nothing to the person receiving it. The thread underneath all 7. None of this is a personality overhaul. These are 7 small, repeatable choices. They're not once and done. They're votes. Every pause instead of a rush. Every time you actually listen instead of waiting your turn. Every honest I don't know. Every clean no instead of a guilty yes. You're not performing respect. You're casting a vote for the kind of person you actually are. Do it enough, and it stops being a list you're trying to remember. It becomes who you are in a room. You don't earn respect by chasing it. You earn it by becoming someone who doesn't need it. Which of these habits have you already started implementing, and which one are you about to start? I'm Sam, and I'll be reading every single one of your comments. If this video helped you, subscribe for more videos that will help you become better every day.